Hi, everybody. We are now on iReady writing lesson 5, step 7. This is the revised second read. Second read. So, in this particular revision, we are going to really kind of focus on something called domain specific vocabulary. And that means, again, that's the type of words that we'll be using that are specific to this particular type of story. We're writing about animals and animal communication, so there's certain uh, vocabulary that we're going to use in here that is just specific to a story about animals, and that's what this means, domain specific vocabulary. So if you'll go to page 148 at the top, you will please follow along with me. It says, in this step, you'll look for places to add domain specific vocabulary. These words and phrases belong to a particular subject or domain, such as science, like what we're doing, and they help writers express ideas precisely when writing informational or explanatory texts, explaining texts that explain. Using domain specific words and terms and explaining them clearly will help your readers learn more about your topic. When revising your writing for language, ask yourself, am I using the correct domain-specific words? Have I clearly explained any words my audience might not know? Here are a list. This is a nice little list. Here's some domain-specific words you might use in your book chapter about animal communication. And the first one says adaptation. Adaptation, something that adapts. It says a change in the characteristic or behavior that helps a life form survive. So something that adapts to the environment that it lives in can probably survive easier. Then the next word, evolve, means to change over time in response to one's surrounding. Habitat means the natural home of an animal, plant, or other life form. That's its habitat. A predator is an animal that hunts and eats other animals, a predator. A trait is a feature or behavior that occurs naturally in a life form. Now, down below this, it says the modeled instruction. Read the excerpt below from Hiding in Plain Sight, which is what Caleb Lawrence wrote for us as a mentor text. Note how Caleb Lawrence used domain-specific words to make his ideas clear. Then complete the activities. So we're going to follow along. We're going to do the directions. We're going to follow what they say. So please, let's do this together. Follow along with me. We're going to read the mentor text. For an animal in the wild, threats to survival are everywhere. All habitats have risks. For example, water sources can dry up. Food can grow scarce. The weather can turn dangerous without warning. But perhaps the most worrisome to animals is the constant danger of becoming another animal's lunch. To avoid being eaten by hungry predators, or better yet, to stalk their own prey, many animals use camouflage, the natural coloring or shape of their bodies, which allows them to disappear into their surroundings. There are 3 main types of animal camouflage. And that's all it gives us for the mentor text. So let's look at number 1 and see what it's asking us to answer. And it says, how does Caleb help his readers understand the domain-specific term camouflage? Now, find where Caleb wrote the word camouflage, and then how does he help the readers understand that particular word, what the word means? Is he giving the definition? Is he adding more detail? What is he doing? I'm going to let you guys figure that out for number 1. Number 2, moving on to number 2. Number 2 says, underline another example of a domain-specific word. Then explain how Caleb makes its meaning clear to readers. So, what we have to do is we have to find another example of a domain specific word. And so, what we have to do is we have to find a word that is specific to a story about animals, talking about animals' camouflage. And the first one we come across here: for an animal in the wild, threats to survival are everywhere. Nothing in there so far that's specific to this, right? All habitats have risk. Well, habitats is a domain specific word, isn't it? And then what's written after that? It says all habitats have risk. For example, water sources can dry up, food can grow scarce, the weather can turn dangerous without warning. And then it gives uh, uh, the danger of becoming another animal's lunch. So these are all different risks from other habitats. So what's going on here? It says underline another example of domain-specific word. We figured out what that is. But you're going to have to explain how Caleb makes its meaning clear to the readers. What do you guys think? I'm going to let you figure this out. Hit pause, and I'm going to move on to number 3. So hit pause now. On to the next page. On to the next page. It says at the top of page 149. It says read the following paragraph from an early draft of the mentor text, and then use the hints to complete the activities that follow. Let's follow along with me, please, okay? This is what it's telling us to do, so we should do it. The third type of camouflage is mimicry. In mimicry, an animal copies the traits of an animal that a predator would not want to eat. For example, a hawk won't eat monarch butterflies because they are poisonous to birds. As a result, the viceroy butterfly has changed over a long period of time to look a lot like a monarch butterfly. Looking like a monarch butterfly is a useful change to a characteristic because it helps the viceroy not be eaten. Number 3 says down here, it says the writer wants to add a definition to help a younger audience. Say, for instance, maybe a first grade group is going to come into a library and read our book that has our chapter in it. And we want to add a definition to help that particular student understand the domain-specific term traits. Traits. Which is the best definition for the writer to add? Circle the correct answer. Wait a minute. We have to know what the word traits means? Ugh, that's not fair. Hey, let's read the hint. Replace the word traits in the draft with each definition. Which choice makes the most sense? Traits. What do you guys think? You can always look that up. Where can we find trait? A definition for trait. Page 148? In one of the 5 words in the middle of the page, on page 148, traits. We're looking for traits. I'm going to let you guys figure that one out, okay? That's number 3. So you're going to have to circle the correct answer, the best definition for the writer to add. Moving on to number 4. Read these sentences from the draft of the mentor text. Okay, we will. As a result, the viceroy butterfly has changed over a long period of time to look a lot like a monarch butterfly. Looking like a monarch butterfly is a useful change to a characteristic because it helps the viceroy not be eaten. Now, what's it telling us to do? It says rewrite the sentences in the line below, replacing the underlined words with the domain-specific terms that convey the meaning more precisely. So what they're asking you to do is take a lot of wordy explanations and just giving the word, so the definition. So, changed. It says it says use the list of terms and definitions on the opposite page to choose the best replacements. Hey, that's what we just did. So if you look back on page 148, it has the definitions. It has some vocabulary words, some domain specific vocabulary words, and their definitions. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go back to 148 and find which one of those underlined areas, okay, which one of those uh, matches up with the word and on page 148. Just go back to 148 and look at it. Which one says changed over a long period of time, and then which one is a change to a characteristic, and then you're going to have to use those and then rewrite the sentences down here using those words that you found from page 148. Good deal. All right, that brings us to the end of this. And down here, let's just finish out the page. It says, write time, use the informational writing checklist passed out by your teacher to evaluate your draft for language. So go back through and look for domain specific language and make sure that you have checked yes. And if you haven't checked yes, correct it and then make it a yes. Okay? If you have any questions, I'm right there. Good luck.